Hello and welcome to my Marksmanship Hunter RBG guide. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm a German World of Warcraft player who achieved the Hero of the Alliance in Legion Season 1 and by playing Marksmanship Hunter. I would like to show you the talents and honor talents I play, and then later I will show you how I mainly deal damage in RBG and what's the important thing you have to notice. First of all, talents. The level 15 talent, I always go for Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf increases all the damage you deal by 18%, and the only downside is you can no longer use Call Pet, but 18% damage is quite a lot, and you really don't need a pet in RBG. And the other two talents don't quite match with Lone Wolf. You only play Call Pet when you have to defend the base, and you know that from the beginning of the RBG, but that's not the normal case. Normally you just deal damage and you play Lone Wolf. So level 30 talent, I go for Lock and Load. Lock and Load grants you a chance to trigger Lock and Load, which causes your next two aim shots to be instant and cost no focus. It's really nice that you can deal damage with aim shot while 2 times while walking. It's quite a lot of burst, and it doesn't cost focus. So there's no downside. Black Arrow itself is also a very powerful spell. Applies a strong dot to the target, but the dot is dispellable, and if you cast Black Arrow, the dot get dispelled, you lose 1 global, 10 focus, and a lot of damage because the dot is dispelled and you don't deal any damage. So I normally go Lock and Load. Level 45, I always go Post Haste. Post Haste grants your disengage ability a nice speed buff, here you can see it. Increase your movement speed by 60%, that's quite nice in like every RBG situation. If you want to kite melees, if you run from one base to another base, if you chase down the enemy's flag carrier, Post Haste is always a nice talent. Level 60, you always go Patient Sniper. Patient Sniper increases the damage bonus from your vulnerable by 6% every 1 second. That's also very nice because it's passive. Vulnerable is if you cast Sidewinders on a target, there's a vulnerable debuff and it increases the damage from my aim shot every second by 6% more. And I choose Patient Sniper over Explosive Shot. Explosive Shot is quite powerful itself, but the problem with Explosive Shot is that it costs focus, that you need to cast it, then you need to activate it again, and it's a skill shot. It's only quite useful if the enemies are very clumped together and you can fire a huge explosive shot and hit like 5 targets, but that's not often the case. And if you get stunned while your explosive shot flies, I can show it to you once. So explosive shot, you need to cast it and then you need to activate it again to deal damage. If you get stunned while the rocket flies, you can't activate it again and all the damage is lost. You did no damage for like 3 seconds, so it's not that good. Patient Sniper, passive, always a good choice. Then level 75, I always go for Binding Shot. Simple reason, Binding Shot is a good AoE stun. Wyvern Sting doesn't achieve anything in RBG, and Camouflage is only playable if you have to dev a base, because you can stand stealthed for the whole time. That's quite useful. If you know you have to dev the whole game, then you play with a pet and Camouflage, but that's not the normal case. Normally you just go with Burning Shot and Lone Wolf. So level 90 talent, I actually changed a lot from Season 1 to now, because Season 1 Barrage was very strong, but they nerfed Barrage several times, and now I always play Volley. Simple reason for that, Barrage costs a lot of focus, 60 focus, and has a 2.5 second cast time, and so 2 big downsides. Volley is just a passive and grants all your auto attacks to deal some AoE damage. I can show it to you on that puppet. You see those arrows running from the sky, that's volley, and that's quite a lot of damage, and it's passive, as I told you. The 3 focus aren't that much, you really don't see that in your focus bar, and normally it deals like 6% of all my damage only from volley, from passive, so it's quite nice. Level 100 is always Sidewinders. Sidewinders is like your main skill, it deals amazing damage, and it's just the main skill for a Marksmanship hunter. Now we go to Honor Talents. Honor Talents, on the first line, I sometimes play Gladiator's Medallion on maps like Eye of the Storm, where you can be mind controlled and jump down, or stuff like that, where you need to react very fast to get out of the crowd control. I use Gladiator's Medallion, but overall Relentless is more powerful, it gives you the most uptime, and you can go Relentless, like most of the time. Second line, I normally play Quick Shots, increases my haste by 6%. You can also play Initiation, which grants you a 30% increased chance of critical strikes on targets above 80% health. But there aren't always many targets above 80% health in RBGs in a normal Zerg. And if that's the case, like the whole team is on 70%, that talent gives you 0 benefits. So Quick Shots always gives you 6% increased haste, very nice, also scales with your Sidewinders. And Initiation I only play against teams of 4 healers, where they have a lot of heal, and whether you can imagine that the targets will be above 80% health for a long time. Third line, I go for survival tactics most of the time, because it's very strong against many dot casters. You can remove all your dots with your Feign Death ability, and it grants you invulnerability for 1.5 seconds. Also quite nice, if you see you're the main target from like an affliction lock, you are getting spammed by those unstable afflictions, you can just remove them all, no problem at all, you get silenced, you don't care, and you're good. Against like hardcore melee cleaves, like 2 or 3 Demon Hunters, Warrior and DK on the enemy team, I go cat-like reflexes. I don't see that so often, but if you face many melees, just go cat-like reflexes. Against casters, you can also go, against dot casters, you can also go for Dragon Scale armor, but I like survival tactics more. On the fourth line, I normally play Spider Sting, because it's a nice silence with not the biggest cooldown. 4 seconds silence for a caster who casts a spell while Spider Sting is up. Normally, it always triggers. Quite nice. Just play Spider Sting. It's the best of those. On this line, I normally play the Explosive Trap, because it's a nice knockback. On Eye of the Storm, you can knock back enemies and till they die. Also on Lumber Mill in Arati. It's quite nice, also to peel melees away from you. On other maps like Kotmogu, you can also play Scatter Shot. It's quite nice if you're running to an orb and an enemy, you can Scatter Shot him, run towards him and pick up. That's quite nice. But it's not that kind of an important choice. You can go whatever you like, but be careful with Scatter Shot, because it removes the dots from your target. And if you play with like an Affliction Lock, you will get angry at you for like removing the dots, you know? So I normally play the Explosive Trap. On the last line, I always go for True Shot Mastery, because a True Shot is like the only offensive cooldown you have. It reduces the cooldown of your cooldown and restores 100% focus. Not that good, but the cooldown reduction is nice, and the others aren't that strong. So, that's about the talents. Normally you go for this talents: Lone Wolf, Lock and Load, Post Haste, Patient Sniper, Binding Shot, Volley and Sidewinders. And all honor talents you go Relentless, Quick Shots, Survival Tactics, Spider Sting, Explosive Tap and Two-Shot Mastery. So now I would like to show you how I deal damage, and the most important thing about Marksmanship Hunter is positioning. Positioning is like everything for you. One example, here are 4 enemies. Those dummies are 4 RPG players right now, imagine that, and you're facing them. So how would you like to stand? If you stand like this and shoot your Sidewinders, you only hit 2 targets. Not that much. But if you stay like this, the enemies are in a line, and you click the target on the bottom, you can go Sidewinders and hit all 4 targets. So positioning is everything. And the second thing is, I already told you, always click the target on the bottom. The target which is like in range, but on the back of the raid. So you can click it and Sidewinders will fly through all targets between your target and yourself. If you click like this target, the Sidewinders won't hit the last target, and if you hit that target, your Sidewinders won't even hit the third target. So, and how do I burst damage and the rotation? So the rotation is quite simple. Like the fight starts, I go activate True Shot, go for Sidewinders, I got a proc, go for Marked Shot, go for 1 aim shot, Wind Burst, Sidewinder has a proc, so I go for Marked Shot again, then I go for aim shots, and go for Sidewinders again when I got a proc. Use your focus with aim shot, go for Sidewinders while you have a proc, go for Marked Shot, and then use aim shot again. I always use Wind Burst on cooldown nowadays. That's for the reason that there's a new talent, Cyclonic Burst, and Cyclonic Burst leaves a trail of wind by Wind Burst, and the trail deals a nice dot damage. That's quite a lot of damage, so I'll just use it on cooldown. Back then I used it to apply vulnerable to the target while I had no up with Sidewinders, but nowadays it's not that important because the trail of wind deals so much damage itself. So you always go like, use your focus for aim shots, use Sidewinders when you have a proc, go for Marked Shot, use your focus again, use Wind Burst on cooldown, go Sidewinders, go Marked Shot, go for aim shot. You can wait a bit, use your focus, then second Sidewinders, go for Marked Shot and aim shot again. You see the procs, nice damage increasement. You got a proc again, use Sidewinders, use Marked Shot, Wind Burst on cooldown. That's it. Normally in a fight I also use like disengage to reposition myself, to always be in the best position to hit all the targets I want to hit and all the targets I can hit, and that's the main difference between good marksmanship hunters and not so good. Just the amount of targets you hit with your spells. Like bad marksmanship hunters would, oh there's a target, I click it, oh I use my spells, yeah I hit like 2 or 3 targets. But I would also always like go one more meter to the right, hit all 4 targets and deal a lot of more damage than they do. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed my guide. If you did, check out my stream. It's right below the video, and leave a thumbs up. Thank you, your journey.